Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Choosing Beggars. Story 1. If it's not nice I'll just be homeless. Story 2. Give me a free Cadillac Escalade. Update, y'all, it's anticlimactic. Kay called the whole time we were having the sale. My mom kept sending her to voicemail. She texted once saying she wanted to see us but didn't have a ride. Mom didn't respond. We had a great time and we're leaving to head home this morning. Also, my mother is not typically a pushover. Kay got a pass because she helped us when our family was angry at mom for ending her marriage. I hope I don't get kicked off the post for saying this, but she has beat up 3 people during my and my sister's childhood. It was always people that were harassing us. She's beautiful, even a little older, think a Kavya Halle Berry, and that can sometimes cause jealousy. So this is not about me. It's actually about my mother's friend. My mother has a friend she's known her whole life, they're both now senior citizens. I will call this woman KK, and my mom only talk and see each other once or twice a year when my mother visits her hometown. Shortly after my mother's last visit, Kay calls my mother. This is the gist of the conversation. Mom, hi Kay, is everything okay? She never calls my mom. Kay, I'm having trouble getting around town to run errands. Nobody wants to run me around. I also have doctor's appointments about an hour away and you know I no longer drive. Mom, confused. Oh well, I'm sorry to hear that. Where's your daughter? I thought she was helping you. Kay, well, I'm calling to find out if I can get your white car. Mom, white car? What car? Kay, you know the Escalade. The truck she keeps calling a car, you have that new one, so I figured you wouldn't mind me using the old one. Mom, I thought you stopped driving? Kay, I did, but I can easily get someone to take me around if I have a car they can drive. Mom, Kay, my youngest daughter has my white Escalade. Kay, well, can I use it for a while? Mom, no, my daughter can't fit all the kids' car seats in her car. She needs it. Conversation ends. Y'all, she's not done. This week my mom and I decided to travel to our hometown to have a yard sale. We always do well since it's a very small town with limited shopping. Kay finds out we're coming. Calls last night. Hey, I heard y'all coming to have a sale. You know I want all the purses and slides you're selling. I love your purses. My mother has pricey handbags, I ain't got any money though. You know my situation. My mom tells Kay she's trying to make money, not give everything away. Kay repeats that she's struggling. The conversation ended, but we're actually on our way now. I'm waiting to see what shenanigans this lady pulls. Story 3. You will pay for food, great, let me order 3 of the most expensive combos. I had been writing a paper that was stressing me out. So I took a break to get some food. When I pulled into my parking spot, someone drove into my car. The damage was nominal, just a little scratch on the bumper. The car was on its last leg, so I let it go. The guy gave me his number, and said to get it detailed and to send him the bill. This is going to sound weird, but I went from being stressed about the paper, to relieved about my car not being thrashed. So I was actually very calm and happy. Enter the choosing beggar. A homeless guy came up to me and said he could fix the scratch. And before I could say anything, he takes a spray bottle and a rag and scrubs the bumper. So it looked like a clean bumper with a scratch. I thank him for trying his best. And as I am walking off, he asks if I can buy him some food. I say sure, I am going to X restaurant, join me. He says actually can we go to Y restaurant? I'm in a decent mood, so I say sure. So we go to Y restaurant and he proceeds to order a $9 combo, fair enough. But then he asks to go large and to add an extra portion of meat. So now it is $16. I was a college student on a tight budget. So I was going to say sorry but no upgrades. Before I get the chance, he then says let me get 2 more duplicate orders for my friends. I ask him who is paying for the other 2 orders. He says you said you'd buy me some food. I inform him I am not buying the neighborhood food. He then tried getting the original upgraded combo with an additional teriyaki bowl for like $28 total. I tell him it's not gonna happen. And that he can spend $9 on the basic combo. He gets mad and says I'm being cheap, uses a few choices words and gets kicked out by the cashier. I go back to restaurant X but decide to use the drive-thru. A few days later I go to Y restaurant. Apparently the guy tries to pull that same trick every time someone agrees to buy him food. But the owner decided to ban him. Story 4. Being a choosing beggar literally saved this woman's life. From the article. I tried to convince the Ocean Gate public relations representative that the amount of coverage I would garner would far outweigh the $5,000 price they would have paid in advertising for similar publicity. No luck. They decided to give my seat to a paying customer. It was so disappointing. I had tried so hard for the story of a lifetime. But there was nothing I could do to change their minds. https://www.newsweek.com/Titan submersible imploded Titanic dive 1810105, amp equals 1. Story 5. I don't want the lunch size. I used to work as server at Olive Garden when I was in college a few years back. There was this guy, Jay, who worked as a busser during the time who latched onto me as a friend, mainly because I was nice to him and all the other servers ignored him. He was kind of a weird guy, smelled like he didn't wear deodorant, and had strong political opinions, but I would ask him how his day was going and listen to him when he talked to me, mostly because I was raised to be nice and inclusive. There was one day I didn't have class and my manager asked if I could cover for someone who had to leave due to an emergency, so since I was broke I figured I could use the extra bucks. I came in around 1 p.m. and as soon as I walked in the door, Jay came up to me and without even a hey man or a hello, he just says, "Will you buy me lunch today?" I was a little frustrated that he just asked without even greeting me, and asked him why he couldn't get it himself. He was saying how since he gets paid every 2 weeks he's short on money, but since I'm a server and get tips he'd know I'd have cash for making change and stuff. Rude, but whatever, we did get an employee discount on food so it wouldn't be too expensive. I asked him what he wanted and he said the chicken Alfredo. I don't know if y'all know, but Olive Garden is expensive, so even with my discount that was gonna be like $13. I tell him fine, but don't expect me to do this all the time, and he runs off into the kitchen all excited, without even thanking me. Like, dude. What? It was lunch and we were running a soup and half pasta meal, so I figured I'd ring that in as an employee meal so I could eat the soup at least. Olive Garden soup is the best. I send in the meal and start doing my normal shift work, but it was a slower afternoon so I wasn't crazy busy. 10 minutes later walks up to Maine and says to me, "Hey man, they made a small portion, can you them to make it a full size or send in another so I can get two?" I was pissed. I told him, "Nah man, I got your lunch, I'm broke too, so you can take it or leave it," and went back to my tables. He came up to me later and was talking in a joking manner about how he saw that small plate of pasta and was like, "Nah, I'll just leave it, haha." Throughout my shift as I went to pull food from the window for my tables, I saw that chicken Alfredo sit for the whole shift. I still get mad thinking about it, lol. Story 6. CB tries to get me to buy him a meal but isn't upfront about everything. I'm not sure if this counts as a choosy beggar story, but I thought I would share it. For full context, I used to work as a delivery driver for an Amazon DSP. At the time, I had a route just on the outskirts of downtown. Believe it or not, it was actually my favorite route. The load was about the size of a typical load, however, every single stop was either to a locker or a leasing office. Basically, that meant that I would dump a bunch of packages off to a single location and then be on my way. It usually took me a few hours to finish the route. Anyway, I had to deliver at a Whole Foods that was on my route regularly since they had an Amazon hub locker. While I was there, this man was asking people if they could buy a meal for him and his son. Said son was not present. Eventually, he asks me, I don't normally do this sort of thing, but I figured that since I would finish my route relatively quickly, it wouldn't hurt to buy him something from the Whole Foods. I tell him that I can as soon as I finish my delivery. As soon as I finished, I told him that I was ready and he said he needed his bike so that he could go to HEB. I was shocked. I thought we were going to get him something at the Whole Foods and I didn't understand why he was asking people around there instead of the HEB that he wanted to shop at. I told him that I couldn't go along with that as it was too far off my route. He then told me I could just give him the money he needed, and I truthfully told him that I don't carry cash on me when I am delivering. He then told me that I could withdraw some money from an ATM machine. By this point, I was already annoyed with the whole experience, and I ended up deciding not to get him anything. I was willing to get him something, but I wish he would have been more upfront on the specifics. Story 7. No comment. Story 8. Free house. Have a family member who I love dearly who also happens to be pretty wealthy. Said family member was going to buy other family members who are not financially stable a home when interest rates were low. However, every time a listing was sent their way, the CBS would make some negative comment or complaint about a feature in the home. We have dogs, that has carpet in one area of the house or that has 2 stories, that's so much to clean. I don't know if it's just me, but if someone was offering me a free home, I'd take it and run. Mind you, I was being sent the listings as well and they were remodeled homes, no work would have needed to be done. Now 2 years later, they're still renting a house they can't afford. Story 9. How to deal with people who try to constantly lowball you when you're selling a car privately. I have a good car, meticulously maintained, and all this one dude did was constantly complain about the most unimportant and small things that have nothing to do with the car. Oh, look at this, what it is. Sir, that's just a bug stuck on bumper. Story 10. CB refuses free tank of gas. A while back some guy approached my papa and told him he was almost out of gas and didn't have cash or a card on him to pay at that time. My papa didn't have cash on him, but told the guy to pull his truck around and he'd be happy to pay for a full tank of gas with his card. After hearing this, the guy gets really snippy and insists that he needs cash to pay for it himself because he doesn't want to look like a charity case, like asking for money in the first place didn't already do that. My papa reiterates that he doesn't have cash, but can use his card to pay for it. The guy huffs, pushes past my papa, gets in his truck and drives away to who knows where. If he was telling the truth about his situation, then my guy missed out on a free tank of gas because of his pride. This was during a time when gas was really expensive too. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.